Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening here on his own today, as Johnny is currently out of town and he will be back on my streams probably later this week or next week. But ball predictions today. So you'll probably see him either do it in the live. But of course, before we get to the Pro Bowl and on my Super Bowl picks and other news around sports world, yes, we'll be talking about baseball, hockey, basketball, and college basketball today. Actually wouldn't mind doing a sports show if I had a webcam for the PS4, but I don't have that. So yay for that. Anyway, as a recap from last week, hold on one second, please scream of death, because I forgot to turn off notifications. So that will end up on Botchamania, if Botchamania had an NFL one. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, last week's recap. The Titans lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, and what was not a surprise, I don't think, to anyone. Granted, Tennessee did kind of hang in there, but Chiefs pretty much did their job. As far as for the Niners, they easily destroyed the Green Bay Packers, who, I'm going to be honest, the Packers did not show up at all, which was kind of just shocking. So we have a chance to see history be made, guaranteed at the Super Bowl. Either Andy Reid will finally win his first ring, which, I'm going to be honest, this could be his last season as head coach. I only say that because he is getting up there in age. He's been coaching for God knows how long. Remember, he did coach the Eagles as well, and he did go to the Super Bowl with them. Or we're going to be seeing for the first time a father-son win Super Bowls, as the Niners head coach, his father won the Super Bowl with the Denver Broncos. So it will be interesting to see what goes on there. But let's get to some things, the news around the world for football. First, we're going to start with Antonio Brown, that crazy son of a bitch. And I do mean crazy son of a bitch. I think his mind's starting to go to mush. Antonio Brown and his trainer allegedly battled the driver of a moving truck outside of his residence, the Hollywood Police Department said Tuesday. Brown is a suspect in the alleged accident, but is not in custody and has not been arrested. Police officer said, who added that the criminal investigation is ongoing. The trainer, though, Glenn Holt, was charged with one count of felony burglary and battery. He was booked into jail Tuesday evening. That broke last night when I was playing Darksiders. Brown hired the moving truck to bring some of his belongings to Hollywood home before the disturbance occurred. Let's just be honest, Antonio Brown's just a batshit crazy person. It's like a Sharknado, except he's in the NATO and he ain't getting out of it. Of course, moving on, Cardinals wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald, who will be returning to the Cardinals, he bought a portion by shares of the Suns, so he has purchased a minority stake in the Phoenix Suns, becoming the second active NFL player with an NBA ownership share. He joins Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers, who purchased a stake in the Milwaukee Bucks in 2018, as the only other active NFL player who owns a little bit of an NBA team. Hopefully, for Aaron Rodgers' sakes, the Bucks do better than what he did in the NFC Championship. And congratulations to Fitzgerald as well. And Jaguars hire ex-Redskin head coach Gruden as offensive coordinator. That is right. As many of you know, wonderful former Dallas Cowboy head coach, he's now the offensive coordinator for the New York Giants, Jason Garrett. But apparently Jay Gruden is getting another opportunity. The Jaguars have hired former Redskins coach Jay Gruden as their offensive coordinator, the team announced Wednesday. The Redskins fired Gruden in October, if you remember, after an 0-5 start in his sixth season. He led the Redskins to a 35-41-1 record that included an NFC East title and playoff appearance in 2015. Gruden was the offensive coordinator with Cincinnati for 3 seasons before being named the Redskins head coach. So keep that in mind. We'll see how that goes for the Jaguars this year. And since we're going to be talking about the Pro Bowl in a little bit, the NFL to experiment with an alternative to onside kick at the Pro Bowl. The NFL will experiment with an alternative, to the onside kick during Sunday's Pro Bowl. an indication that the league is still considering the option despite the fact that the owners rejected it last year. As in past years, there would be no kickoffs at all in the Pro Bowl. The twist this year is that the teams will have two options after scoring. Excuse me. The first is to give the ball back to the opposition, which would start its drive at its 25-yard line. The new second option for the scoring team would serve as a substitute for an onside kick. It would allow it to run one additional play from its own 25-yard line. If the scoring team gains 15 yards or more, it would retain possession. If it falls short, the opposition would take over at the dead ball spot. Necessarily, it would be a 4th and 15 play. Onside kicks have been more difficult to recover since the 2018 overhaul of the kickoff. Among other changes, the new rule prevented the kickoff team from getting a running start before the kick. Onside kick recoveries dropped from the league's historic rate of about 21% through the 2017 season to a 7.7% in 2018 and 12% in 2019. The Broncos did propose a similar change last winter, but owners voted it down in March. The NFL does not always adapt Pro Bowl rule changes, but the presence of onside kicks alternatively is an addition that at least some league decision makers would like to see in action. Also at this year's Pro Bowl, officials will be instructed to use a different standard for false start penalties on receivers who are flexed from the line of scrimmage. It will not be a false start if the receiver flinches or lifts 1 foot off the ground, provided he resets for 1 second and or keeps 1 foot on the ground. So there's your Pro Bowl news on that one as well. Now we're getting to the Pro Bowl pick, so let's go to that real quick. Now the Pro Bowl is this weekend at 3 o'clock on ESPN. Let's just take a quick look at the roster real quick, because it has changed a little bit. It'd be nice if it would actually let me see his roster, but apparently it's not going to. Anyway, over the last few years, though, the AFC has pretty much dominated the Pro Bowl, as in 2012 the AFC won it, 13 AFC won it, 17 AFC won it, 18 AFC won it, and then of course last year in 2019 the AFC won as well. So not exactly the best thing if you're the NFC. NFC's on a losing streak. I'm going to take the AFC in this one. I just think quarterback wise, plus let's be honest, in the Pro Bowl no one will replace defense whatsoever, so yeah, let's go with that. Now of course the Super Bowl is on February 2nd at 6:30 on Fox. Kansas City is currently the favorite at 1 point. So how did these two teams get here? Well, let's talk about it. So let's go to Kansas City's schedule from this past season. In the regular season, the Chiefs had a pretty good season. They did end up getting the number 2 seed, as during the season they beat the Jaguars, the Raiders, the Ravens, Lions. The first loss would be coming, unfortunately, to the Indianapolis Colts. They would lose to the Texans, but they would get their revenge in the playoffs. Then the Chiefs beat the Broncos, lost to Green Bay, beat Minnesota, lost to the Titans, but they did beat the Chargers. Then they destroyed the Raiders, beat the Patriots, which kind of continued the Patriots' downside, beat the Broncos again, they beat the Bears, and then they beat the Chargers. But the funny thing is, they got the number 2 seed due to the Patriots losing in Week 17. In that, the Chiefs, who were down to the Texans after the first quarter, came back and destroyed the Texans in the divisional round, and then in the championship game, Chiefs pretty much held on to a good 11-point lead and never really let go of it to win. As far as for the quarterback, who has had a good year, not as great as last year, but pretty good this year. Pulling it up right now. I don't get why he wants to do the postseason. I want to go to the regular season. Thank you. You gotta love when ESPN does its stupid crap. There we go. Mahomes had 4,030 yards. He did have as well 26 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, and he was sacked 17 times. As far as for the team, Yes, I know. I'm trying to give you stats as much as I can. Total first downs, he had about 350. Rushing first downs, 93. And passing first downs, 211. First downs by penalties was 46. Third down percents, they were about 47.59. Fourth down, they were 60%. So there is that. As far as for penalties, they got hit with 107 penalties. Average penalty per game was about 64, give or take. But, you know, this is tier 2 team. So let's head to San Francisco, who defensively is probably the best team of this matchup. But I will be honest, I do not trust their quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo. And I'll explain why later. But for the Niners regular season, they easily beat the Buccaneers, then beat Cincinnati, beat a bad Steelers team, beat a bad Browns team, and then they beat a bad Rams team. So I'm going to say this. I said it most of this year, and I'm going to say it again. The Niners did benefit. I know Dave's not going to want to hear it, but the Niners did benefit from an easy start of the schedule. When you're playing a Bengals team who was a joke, a Steelers team who was already on the multiple different quarterback, a Browns team who really choked this year, who, to be honest, me and a lot of other people fell for the Browns being a good team, and then a Rams team who's underperformed. Then you beat the Redskins, beat the Panthers, beat the Cardinals. Your first loss would come to the Seahawks, who was your first real team you played, and then you beat Arizona again. You demolished Green Bay. Then you lost to the Ravens in a close matchup. Then you beat the Saints again in a close call. You would lose to the Falcons, but it really wouldn't hurt you that much, as you would end the season beating the Rams and then the Seahawks getting you the #1 seed. In that, you did beat the Vikings 27-10 in the divisional round, and in the championship game you pretty much handled your business against the Packers, as your defense once again did its job and Jimmy Garoppolo just had to play competent. And that's why I have an issue. I would say, depending on what your play style is or what your idea of football is, I would probably say you're going with the defense. But I think if you're picking Kansas City, you're going with Mahomes in that explosive offense. I've said before, Jimmy Garoppolo, and I'll tip my hat to him this year, he's played better than I thought he would. But I don't think he can win a shootout with Mahomes. Yes, I know it's just one game and anything can happen, but that Chiefs offense is good. I think for the Niners to win this Super Bowl, the defense is going to have to at least stop them from scoring a few times. Not every time, because that ain't going to happen. And Jimmy's going to have to match Mahomes' point for touchdown for touchdown, I believe. The only other way I could see the Niners winning this, they're going to have to do what the Broncos defense did a few years ago against the Panthers and just punch them in the mouth and get it start fast and end fast, pretty much. But for you stats out there, because I do want to give stats for Jimmy, I think that's the only fair thing to do, since I did do that for the Chiefs. Once the wonderful ESPN app loads. Gotta love apps. Anyway, I hope everyone's having a good day today. It is Wednesday. It is hump day. Yeah. By the way, I will not be streaming tonight. Jimmy Garoppolo's passing yards 3,978. He had 27 touchdowns, but he had 13 interceptions, and he was sacked 36 times. So as for the team itself, bring that up real quick, because I love giving you guys stats when I can. Total points per game was about 29.9. Total points overall was 476. First downs, he had 336. First down by penalties was 31. The third down efficiency was 45%, but the fourth down was 58.33, so real close there. But like I said, I have a hard time trusting Jimmy. I know Dave has said in the past that he thinks Jimmy Garoppolo holds the ball too long, and he's a Niners fan. Penalties, they had about 105, and average per game was about 58. So, who do I pick in this one? First off, I'm hoping Joe Buck doesn't annoy everybody and makes everybody hit the mute button. I'm going to pick Kansas City. Like I said, I think it's going to be, I think this is going to be a shootout game, and I think Mahomes is the better quarterback in that situation. I don't trust Jimmy. Yes, I would say the Niners defense is way better, but I'm going with the quarterback who's very hard to beat. Now, I will say this than the Niners, because I think if the Niners lose, they will still be able to make it back with their pieces and their head coach. To where with the Chiefs, this could be the last swan song for Andy Reid. Andy Reid, like I said earlier, he's getting up there in age. I would like to see. I've always did respect Andy Reid. Yes, I know that's shocking because I'm a Cowboys fan and he coached the Eagles, but I've always respected him as a coach. He's one of the coaches I always kind of wish would have came to Dallas, but I know that was never going to happen. I do respect Andy Reid, and I hope he does get his ring, because I think he's going to go in the Hall of Fame no matter what. But I know personally, if you were to ask him, he'd probably like to at least win one Super Bowl. I mean, Dan Marino's in the Hall of Fame, but I guarantee you this: Dan Marino would give all those records he had up to get one ring. I mean, I hate saying it, but it's true. I think if you would ask a lot of players who, I know the Bills who made it to the 4 straight Super Bowls, and granted they lost, they were happy to do it, but I guarantee you, if you could go back in time and tell them, we want to just have you win one Super Bowl and only make it to one, but you're going to win it, they would take it. But yeah, I got the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. So let's go to Major League Baseball. That is right. We're going to start with MLB as the Hall of Fame was announced, and I'm going to say something. To the one person who didn't vote Derek Jeter in, you can kiss my hairy metal ass. I am very upset that he did not get a unanimous vote. I thought he should have been unanimous, and Larry Walker was also elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame as well. But Derek Jeter should have got a unanimous vote. I want to know who the one person was who didn't vote for him. I do have to agree, it's probably somebody who played for the Red Sox. But Jeter, who was the longtime New York Yankees captain, appeared on 376 of the 377 ballots, falling just shy of the standard set last year when longtime Yankees teammate Mauro Rivera became the first unanimous selection. Jeter's 99.7 voting percentage moved above Ken Griffey Jr. for the second highest. It was not immediately known which voter didn't choose Jeter, who was listed on 219 ballots. The BBWA will release additional ballots on February 4th of voters who choose a public listing. Walker got 304 votes, 6 above the 75 needed, and up from 54.6 last year. He was making his 10th and final appearance on the ballot and tweeted earlier in the day, "I believe I'm going to come up a little short today after checking the voter tracker and projecting he would finish at 73." But he made it in. Congratulations to both of them on that. But I would love to know who was the one who did it. Alright, now heading to NHL. Of course, if you've been watched this enough, you know we go over the news, some news, the standings, and the games. Tonight, there's only 2 games on the 22nd. It is the Jets at the Blue Jackets. I am going to take the Jets, Jets, Jets. That's at 7:30 tonight on the RSN network. And the other game tonight at 8 o'clock on NBC Sports, it is the Detroit Red Wings taking on the Wild. Well, I'm going to feel the war and go with the Wild on that one. So as for the news, by the way, I did want to say thank you, Captain One, because I did see the celebration of the Hurricanes' victory, celebrating with dodgeball. Go check that video out. Rangers AP sits out versus Alice with upper body injury. Former NHL player Akuru, who signs with Chesnick League team. Sorry if I mispronounced that name. And as far as for the standings, we're going to go with them real quick. I know we're just about to hit the mid-season All-Star break, but I think it's good to hit these. And remember, today's stream is brought to you by Madden 20, because this will be the last Madden video on the channel. In the Eastern Conference, in the Atlantic, Boston's #1 seed, followed by Tampa Bay and Florida. Still amazes me that Tampa Bay and Florida have a hockey team. In the Metropolitan, Washington's number 1, followed by my Penguins at 2, and the Islanders at 3rd. Your wildcard teams at the moment are Carolina and the Blue Jackets. The worst team in the Eastern Conference right now is the Detroit Red Wings, if you based on points. And wins as well. They got like the worst win record there as well. In the Western Conference, Captain 1 St. Louis Blues are the 1 seed, followed by the Colorado Avalanche and the Dallas Stars. So it's going to be funny that the Dallas hockey team makes the playoffs, but not the NFL team. If the Mavericks make it, that's not a surprise, because Mavericks are good this year. And in the Pacific, Vancouver's 1, followed by Edmonton and Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Your wildcard teams right now in that are the Phoenix Coyotes and the Golden Knights. The worst team in the Western Conference is the LA Kings. Overall, though, the worst team in hockey is the Detroit Red Wings, so yay on that. Heading to the end, well, before we head to the NBA, let's go to college basketball. As many of you know, and I know Captain Juan saw it last night, I actually made a joke about that it lasted longer than the McGregor-Cowboy fight. Kansas won over Kansas State, ends in melee. If many of you did not see that, Jayhawks coach called it an embarrassment. I actually thought it was kind of fun, and I enjoyed it. By the way, Morgan Wortman, Hall of Fame high school hoops coach, passed away. And number 1 in Baylor is number 1. We all know that. I will actually be going over the rankings in a little bit. So as for the fight, I actually thought it was funny. The game was already over by that point, way over. I'm sure we'll be hearing more throughout the day and tomorrow if you get suspended or whatnot. I haven't heard anything. So if I do, I might mention it in one of my other videos. I don't know, because I know a lot of people don't usually watch college basketball till March. I try to watch it when I can, particularly when Notre Dame's playing. I'll be your top 25 for this week. Excuse me. Baylor's at 1, followed by Gonzaga and Kentucky. Then San Diego State, Florida State, Louisville, Dayton, Duke, Villanova, Seton Hall, Michigan State, Oregon, Butler, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, Kentucky, Auburn, my mom's Maryland Terrapins, Texas Tech, Iowa. I will watch that Static Shockers death battle. Memphis, Illinois, Arizona, Colorado, Rutgers, and Houston, and that. Dropped from the rankings, Wichita State, Michigan, Iowa State, and Creighton. And going over the games today, since I figured, hey, let's just do them real quick. We're going to be doing just the Division 1 games. My Fighting Irish play at 7 o'clock tonight on ESPN2. I'm taking my Irish to beat Syracuse. Georgetown plays Xavier. I'm going to take Georgetown. That's at 6:30 on Fox Sports 1. At 7 o'clock on the ACC Network, Louisville takes on Georgia Tech. I'm going to take Louisville. On the CBS Sports, Dayton at home takes on St. I can't even going to try to pronounce that. I'm taking Dayton. On ESPNU at 7 o'clock, Auburn plays South Carolina. I'm going to take South Carolina on the upset. 7 o'clock on the Big Ten Network, Penn State versus Michigan. I'm going to take Penn State. Michigan's a young team. 7 o'clock on the SEC Network as well. It is Arkansas versus Mississippi State. I will take Arkansas on the road. 7 o'clock on ESPN Plus, it is La Salle taking on Richmond University. That is for Richmond, Virginia. Yes, we actually have a basketball team, believe it or not. That's not VCU. I'm going to take Richmond. Rhode Island, I'm going to take them over that I'm not going to try to pronounce that, but that's at 7 o'clock. George Washington, or G. Washington versus Florida. Game that doesn't matter. Yeah, there's a lot of college games going on today, folks, if you haven't figured that out. Basketball has pretty much got a lot of games today. But I figured I would just go over a few of them. And of course, last but certainly not least, NBA time. Let's go. Because going to the news of the day, Zion will be making his appearance tonight at 9:30 on ESPN as the Pelicans take on the Spurs. I will make my pick later on. Let's see how well he does. Unfortunately, Pollard suffered severe Achilles injury last night, so that kind of hurts my Mavericks. Nuggets, Plumlee's foot is out for 2 to 4 weeks as well. Lakers had returning to All-Star dunk contest as well. So let's go for the games tonight. 7 o'clock tonight on ESPN, it's the 76ers at the Raptors. I'm going to take the Toronto Raptors at home. 7 o'clock, it's the Kings and Pistons. I'm going to take the Kings on the road. 7 o'clock as well, the Thunder and Magic. The Thunder are going to kill the Magician and the Magic. Lakers at Knicks. I'm taking the Lakers. Knicks are just a terrible team. Grizzlies at Celtics. I'm going to take the Boston Celtics at home. That's at 7:30. Also at 7:30 tonight, Miami versus the Wizards. I would take the Heat. 7:30 as well, it's Clippers and Hawks. I'm going to take the Clippers. 8 o'clock tonight, Timberwolves at Bulls. I'm going to take the Bulls at home. Also 8 o'clock tonight, it would be the Nuggets at the Rockets. I'm going to take the Nuggets on the road. Pacers and Suns face off at 9 o'clock tonight. I'm going to take the Pacers on the road. So as for the big game tonight at 9:30 on ESPN, it's the Spurs and Pelicans. I'm going to take the Spurs on the road here. I think with Zion, I know that's going to be a lot of hype, and I think a lot of people are going to watch it, but I'm taking the Spurs here. And then, of course, tonight at 10 o'clock, it's Utah and the Warriors. I'm taking the Jazz. And going to the standings real quick before you head on out of here. In the Eastern Conference, the Milwaukee Bucks are the 1 seed, followed by Miami at 2, Toronto at 3, Boston at 4, Philadelphia at 5th. 6 is the Pacers, 7th is the Magic, and 8 is the Brooklyn Nets. Detroit is on the outside looking in at 9 at the moment. The worst team in the conference is not the Knicks anymore. Congratulations, New York Knicks. You're actually better than 2 teams, as Atlanta is at the bottom of the barrel, followed by Cleveland. In the Western Conference, Lakers are the 1 seed, followed by the Clippers, the Nuggets, Utah's in 4th, my Mavs are in 5th, Houston's at 6th, 7th is the Thunder, and 8th are the Memphis Grizzlies. The worst team in that one is the Warriors, but that is due to the injuries. And there you go, guys. Hopefully you enjoy the Super Bowl and all the other sports around the world. Until I see you next time, which will be for March Madness for Sports, have a good night, and I'll see you real soon.